This is the one that's being rejected. Oh, it's smartphone. 10 seconds.
Hi, this is Lori Irby Jackson. I'm a columnist with the Dallas Morning News' briefing. Whenever I get a spare moment in between writing, I always listen to the commish.
All right, that was Lori Irby Jackson of the Dallas Morning News. I'd like to send a shout out to the Dallas Morning News. We'll be visiting them soon. I like the Dallas Morning News, but then again, I liked it when we had two newspapers here. I'm a little old school. Dallas Times Herald, Dallas Morning News. You get your news when you have more than one choice. Imagine living in a world in which, it was only Fox News. Well, anyway, enough said about that. You need more choices. So this is one of the choices you have in order to get your news information. It's the Commish Radio Show. And I am on board right now. Let's move this down where I'm able to see the people as they chime in. So please move the camera where I'm able to see it. We have Miss Rhetta Andrews Bowers. She's running for Texas State Representative, House District 113. Like to send a shout out to Miss Charlotte Wooten, who's listening to us. Mr. John Lopez, who's joined us as well. Miss Margie Martinez and Janelle Gray. I think we played some Janelle Gray earlier. If you were listening to our FBRN.us, there's other ways to listen to the show. You can listen to it here on Facebook Live, and you can also listen to the show on FBRN.us. We have during our second hour Christians in Public Service. So after I get through talking, if you could go ahead and bring her in and have her sit in the gallery. Miss Dorothy Burton has joined us live. We want her to see us. We don't need to put in a timeout room strip. Get her out of timeout. Get her out of timeout. Have her come inside here. We're going to put her inside here. You remember how it was, Miss Rhetta, when we were kids and we used to go to Grandma's house and Grandma had all of her children around and she said, you all belong to me and everything, and they had the card table out and everything.
Right.
Yeah, and you'd be the oldest person at the card table and everything. Well, this time we moving people off of the card table to be right here in the gallery itself. So they don't have to be listening and looking like you guys are doing right now. So Ramona Porlick Brumfield's running for office up in Collin County. We would like for you to go ahead and have other people to join in as well. As we've often said, we are the best radio show in social justice from Como to the Congo. Hey, if you know where Como is, that means you're in Fort Worth. You know where the Congo is, that means you're in Africa. So therefore, we are the best, and we are above the rest. We loved by many, hated by few, respected by all, we're second to none. And with that being said, Ms. Bowers, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Mr. Gray. Thank you for having us. It's been a long time coming, but we're glad to be here today.
I am so glad to have you on the show. I've been watching you and watching your campaign and everything.
You.
Tell us about yourself and what's going on. And appreciate you for driving through this rain and everything.
Oh, my goodness. It felt like we swam over here today. And, sisters, how we do with our hair and everything. So, I was trying to stay as covered. Yeah, I've had a bad hair day myself. Stay as covered as possible. But, when you are campaigning, you cannot let the rain stop you. So we have had to make sure that we've had people dialing, we've had people knocking. And so, you just have to have all weather hair.
I'm with that. I'm down with that. I have all weather hair.
I see it. I see it.
Or not see it. So tell us about yourself. Who are you? Why are you running?
Well, I am Rhetta Andrews Bowers, and I'm a native Texan. I'm from Houston, Texas. But I've been here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for almost 18 years. This will be in November, our 18th year. We moved here after my husband retired from 22 to plus years in the United States Army and retired at Fort Hood, and we moved here. And it was really, I was working in tourism with the Chambers of Commerce and Convention and Visitors Bureau for Killeen before we moved here, and I thought tourism would be the route for me. I had done some years in radio and television prior to that, but gave up those career paths to really stay at home and rear our two kids that we had at home. So when we got here almost 20 years ago, it was my intent to devote my time to my family. So I was at home for a good part of the 11 or 12 years with our kids. And with that, it brought on community involvement. And it was whether it was volunteering in PTAs, band booster clubs, and getting an appointed position with the city of Rowlett, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and just really working at that time to support other candidates as we approach, and we're in an election year, midterm. And so it was supporting other candidates, whether that meant President Obama, whether that meant the judiciary or others. And so with my kids at my knee, or whether I was dragging them to the library to sign I'm-in cards for President Obama, I was dialing. And I looked for something that I could do to support my family. I started teaching on a sub-level with Garland ISD just to get back into the workplace. But I knew that I wanted to stay connected as possible to my community. I looked for something with subs not making that much that could be part-time work, what I thought, and I jumped on to the campaign of Senator Wendy Davis for governor.
Okay.
And so that work truly has become my passion, just really getting the vote out.
So you live in Rowlett now, right?
Live in Rowlett, Texas, and have been for almost 18
Rowlett
years.
has really grown.
It has. And
Do you sometimes get lost driving around? Saying,
Well,
I remember what happened.
you can, surprisingly, people, I think Rowlett has grown not only in the number of people, but definitely in diversity as well. Out in Rowlett, and you can get lost now. I mean, we used to feel like it was one way in and one way out, but truly now we have the George Bush, tollway. We've got which I really was helpful and welcoming to our community. We've got the DART rail out there, which I remember the plans for that to come, working with the city.
So Rowlett wasn't part of DART at first?
It really wasn't. There was no connection. I mean, like, we really, I remember just taking 66 all the way in. When I first moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and we looked at Rowlett.
Why Rowlett?
You know what? My uncle who lived in...
Like water or something?
You know what? I do. I do. I really love the beach. We got the lake. And, we've seen the lake go up and go down out there in Rowlett. But I think the people that my husband was going to work with were the ones that showed us Rowlett. My uncle said we were moving to the wrong side of town, but we landed, and I believe in blooming where you planted. So it's what we've done.
Parks Board, and then where else after that?
Wow. Spent some time on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, a little bit more than 8 years, really.
That's a high top position in any city, Parks Board.
It is.
Like zoning commission, Parks Board, and then after that is city council.
I'll tell you the funniest thing, Ed, when my daughter brought home a letter in her Tuesday folder at Pearson Elementary, just saying that she wanted to help build a park, because that's where it all started.
We got a call. We had a call. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here at the door.
Oh, sounds like Kevin Felder. Why is he calling in? Why don't you listen to Kevin Felder?
I'm at the door down here.
That's funny. It's ironic, people. I just did, then we go back to the interview. Okay. I have just got on everybody about doing something about Botham Jean, and I said there's been nobody from the city council that said anything about it, and I know Kevin Felder follows me on Twitter, and lo and behold, he's downstairs. Wow. He showed up. Well, okay. Well, back again to the campaign for Texas District 113.
Yes.
Okay. So you,
go ahead.
Parks Board and...
I was telling about my daughter bringing that note home in her Tuesday folder and the things we do for our kids. She said she wanted to help build a park, and I said, absolutely, let's go and see. They wanted the kids in the community to be involved and to be able to say what they wanted on this park out there on the playground. And so it was a hands-on effort. We saw it through from the beginning to the end. And my kids, along with many other kids in the community, came together with the Parks Board at the time and selected those playground jungle gyms or whatever you had, what have you. And I was approached and said, hey, we've got a space on the Parks Board if you would consider it. And before I knew it, I was an alternate, then soon appointed to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board and stayed committed to it for, like I said, at least 8 years or more. That led to the Community Investment Task Force. That led to the recovery after the tornado. That was on the recovery task force in Rowlett as well, and working with both Garland and Rowlett to recover from the tornado. But in whatever way we could on the Parks Board, we were just trying to provide the best quality of life for Rowlett citizens.
So in providing for that quality of life now, that means you wanting to run now to join those other members in the Texas House, correct?
Absolutely. After I worked for Senator Davis in that gubernatorial race and other down ballot candidates, I just felt not only had I lobbied for parks at the Texas House, I just felt Rowlett needed to have a place at the table, be represented well in the state of Texas. And at that point, it was just about Rowlett. I later on was able to work during the 85th legislative session for a member of the House and got to work in Balk Springs, which is also part of our district, in Dallas.
Balk Springs is part of your district? What is your district? Balk Springs?
It's parts of Rowlett, Mesquite, Garland, all of Sunnyvale, Seagoville, Balk Springs. We have a little bit of Dallas right there near Balk Springs, and Combine. So there are 8 cities in the district, and large community, very diverse. As I said, most people think on the East that we don't have that diversity, but we are a minority majority district in reality. We have 49.4% black and brown, and 43% Anglo, and 7.5 other.
Now, how is it regarding Democrats and Republicans? How's that?
It's considered a swing district, and so.
So you're running against an incumbent?
Absolutely not this time.
What?
I am so.
You got a big grin. That turns out. So you ran for office before, right?
Yes, sir.
Was it against an incumbent?
Absolutely against an incumbent. It felt like a David and Goliath moment, Ed. It really did, and it was interesting. Just like in this year, this election year, we don't stop. We figure whether it rain or shine. Sometimes the odds look like they're against us, and against an incumbent, it could look that way. But we kept pushing, and I heard that she said, the incumbent and the current serving member, that she didn't take us seriously first go round back in 2016, but she should have, because we ended up with 45% of the vote. And when we know it only takes 51% to win, I think she saw that the writing's on the wall, because she in turn did not put in her bid for re-election.
Okay, so you stand a good chance, or better than a good chance? Huh?
I think it's better than a good chance this time. I really do. I mean, I felt like we stood a good chance last time. And I'll say this, being that I have been knocking 113 since 2014, or at least that, I saw how we were able to, and I do give God the grace, by the grace of God, push the pendulum. I mean, the current incumbent had a 20-point lead in 2014. We had her down to 5 points. So and I just feel like it has been the foundation that we've been building. I can't take all the credit. I don't even want to give the Team Bowers all the credit. I feel like this has been a progression and some progress we've made, and the natural progression is for us to win this year.
Cool. Mm-hmm. I have 2 more questions to ask before we go to our next break. And the first question I have to ask is, what would you bring to the table for the Texas House that the previous person had not brought?
Well, I think I stand on what I would bring.
What's your platform?
our platform is truly we're going to push for education and making sure that public education is fully funded and that we support our teachers and students, investing more in both of those parts of education. I think we've also got to make sure that people have access to quality health care, that they feel that they are able to get the medical care they need, and that we have more jobs in our area. But I want to step back and answer the question you asked originally, in that I feel that with me as the representative for House District 113, the constituents will have representation that not only looks like them, but that really votes on the needs of the community. I am a part of the community that looks like, that lives like. I'm a parent of public educated kids, and we work hard. You know, I'm proud to say we're endorsed by whether it's Workers Defense, the Workers Defense Action Fund, or Working Families Party, AFL-CIO, and we are a proponent of hardworking families that live in House District 113, and I think we've just needed representation that votes on our behalf.
Now, you had mentioned God earlier.
Yes, sir.
Now, say that again. How does God play in your public service?
Wow. He is what guides and who guides and leads me. You know, when I'll tell you, the first time I was asked to run and to accept the call to public service was back in 2012, and I said absolutely not. My kids were young. And I continued to stay active in the community. The call came back again, and he was the one I consulted with before I asked my husband, before I asked my children. I tossed and turned through the night talking to him about it. And once I realized that it was divinely ordered, that it is a calling from a higher being, then I felt like he had to stay in it throughout, whether it's the people you got with you, whether it's really which way do you go, how many doors do you knock, how many calls can we make, how much money can you bring in, because that's a real thing. And he has been at the helm of this whole thing. I do, sometimes I struggle with, do I keep going? But when I take it to God, the answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely.
Keep moving forward. Okay, when is election time?
Oh my gosh, it's coming. It's really almost
Do you
here.
have it down to how many days it is? Like
you know what? Hey, right now we are less than 60 days. We're less than 60 days, and I'll say this. Early voting starts October 22nd. Election day is November 6th. And the last day to register to vote is October 9th. And we are going to do everything we can in these next few weeks to make sure we're registering, continue to register voters, continue to push people to the polls, ask them if they need rides, get those yard signs out. But I have to say this, that elections can be won in early voting. So I encourage people to get out and vote on October 22nd. Don't wait.
You're going to be voting October 22nd?
Absolutely.
Who are you going to be voting for?
Well, hey, it's right here on this shirt. Right here on this shirt. It won't be hard at all. And, you know, I'm ready to serve. And so that vote for Bowers is not going to be hard to make at all. I got a team that won't let me stop. My family won't let me stop. So I absolutely, I ask everybody in 113, vote for Bowers and really vote straight down. I have to say that because I started back in 2010 and I felt our former president needed a little help. And I just know that we have got to get people in office that care about the good, hard-working people in this state.
Well, you heard it here first on the Commish Radio Show. And that's it, the word from Rhetta Andrews Bowers, running for Texas State Representative, House District 113. 113. Right. So, hey, take a look. Early voting is coming soon. When is it again?
October 22nd.
All right, we just got to keep hammering it, October 22nd. All right, Strip, we will be right back with Christians in Public Service with Miss Dorothy Burton and also our special guest that came through, Mr. Kevin Felder, who's knocking at the door, drove through the rain to see us here on the Commish Radio Show. Let's play 2 drops and we will be right back.
Hey everybody, it's Casey Fox, the Lady General, and I consistently listen to the Commish Radio Show for the latest in politics and entertainment.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Michael Moore, the poet. When I'm not writing my beautiful words of poetry, I'm tuned in with the Commish Radio Show on the Fishbowl Radio Network.